Hello, my name is Lance McNeil, and in this video today we are going to build a business model canvas for a food truck using the Miro software platform. If you don't have Miro, they do have a free version you can sign up for, and they have the business model canvas as a template that you can use. If you'd rather use a paper version or other template, check the links underneath the video for how to access those. So, all right, so we're talking about a food truck business, and on the business model canvas, I always like to start here with the customer segments. We're going to scroll over here, zoom in, and we're going to talk about the different customers that I might have for a food truck and how I describe those customers. So let's imagine this food truck is for barbecue, right? So we've got barbecue enthusiasts, those customers who really enjoy barbecue. I've also got foodies, kind of just in general, right? And what I mean by that is someone who likes to try new food. They like to visit the newest food truck. They like to try new restaurants and they haven't come to us before. And so with that, I might also kind of say, maybe food truck enthusiasts. There are those out there who like to try every food truck in town. And then I'm also going to think about geography, right? So where is my food truck located? Great thing about a food truck is it is mobile. So it will really depend on where I am at, but it could be an event or a concert that I'm working. Okay. Or festival. Great. I might have my food truck parked near an office building, right? So in that case, my customer would really be those professionals working nearby, and I'm really going to be serving them lunch or maybe takeout for dinner for them to take home. Okay, I might have my food truck, might be trying to get the evening crowd, and I might set up and partner up with a bar, so bar patrons who are getting a little hungry. All right, so several different customer segments, and a lot of what I have identified here are interests, right? Enthusiasts, or a certain geography, someone working nearby, someone who is patroning this particular bar, and then I might also have families, okay, because maybe I've got kind of a family meal deal, right? So families. And then, maybe I'm a good place for those going out on a date, right? So date night. Okay, so these are just some ideas for customer segments. Here in just a few minutes, we've come up with about 8 different ones, and there may be more, but it's a good place to start, right? The idea is you can have several different customer segments that you cater different value to, and that's where we're going to go to next. We'll zoom back out, and then we'll focus in on these key value propositions. Keeping in mind our different customer segments, I'm now going to think about what those different customer segments might value and how I can offer them benefits. Okay, so let's think about barbecue enthusiasts, right? What do they care about, right? Well, they really care about maybe the art behind the barbecue, right? We've got several great barbecue places in my hometown of Austin, Texas, and the way that they cook the meat, right? The way that they smoke it is really, part of the value, right? It's part of the story or kind of that origin of where that food comes from and how it's crafted, right? So art behind how it's made. Okay. And then, maybe I've got really healthy portions, right? So what I mean by healthy, I guess I should clarify, is kind of large portions, right? So you're really hungry, or you're a family, you're trying to feed an entire family. I've got large portion options, okay? And then maybe for those barbecue enthusiasts as well, I've got kind of a secret barbecue sauce, really, that makes it special, right? So I've got the secret sauce. Okay, so for foodies, what do I have for them, right? Maybe for those foodies or those food truck enthusiasts, I've got maybe one of my dishes is kind of a fusion. Maybe it's like Asian barbecue or kind of a Tex-Mex barbecue flavor. And so for that foodie who really loves to try different flavors and explore and kind of has an eclectic palate, I've got some fusion dishes just for that customer segment that I've got on my menu. All right, what about those professionals working nearby, right? Well, let's think in their shoes for a minute, right? These are busy professionals, and maybe they can come out to the parking lot, place their order, and have lunch. Maybe they got time, but maybe they don't have time that day. Maybe they've got a working lunch meeting. So I've got some catering options for them, and I'm also going to offer a workplace discount, because I know when you've got a meeting for lunch, you're in there with 5 or 6 of your closest colleagues, and they're going to need lunch too. So I can do that catering with that office discount to really target those working professionals with some value. All right, what about the bar patrons who are hungry? Okay. Well, with them, I might have mobile ordering, right? Because they want to sit, enjoy their drink with their friends. They don't want to stand in line for too long. They don't have to wait around and be away from their friends near the food truck waiting on their order to be ready. They want to go back, re-engage with whatever social event they've got going on, and we'll notify them by their phone or text message when it's ready. So this is kind of a feature of technology feature, but when you kind of unpack it, you can kind of see the value or that underlying benefit and who it's going to serve through that example. Okay, what about date night, right? All right, gonna have to get kind of creative here, but maybe I've got kind of a couples plate, right? And that's just like I've got the fusion dish on my menu, I've got the couples plate, and it's just enough food for 2, and it's got some of our best features. I might also have kind of a couples, or I might just have some shareable appetizers, right? Now we're getting intimate. We can share an appetizer together and help that date night go along smoothly. Okay, here we go. I've got 8 different value propositions. They don't all need to match up, right? And we could continue this on, but I've thought about each one of these different customer segments. Oh, maybe I forgot the event goer, festival goer. We really want, when I'm at a festival and I've got barbecue sauce, I want kind of, as best as possible, some sort of mess-free packaging and, wet wipes, right? The last thing you want at a festival is be covered in sticky barbecue sauce, right? So you really want to think about that consumer and where they're at and what kind of experience they're going to have. So we've got mess-free packaging and these wet wipes to help them stay clean. All right, so now where do we go next? We have created these customer segments. We've thought about the key value that we're offering them. The next place I like to go to is here in the customer relationships. So how do I create the relationship with these customers so that they not only recognize that we exist, awareness is kind of one of the first things we need to achieve, but that we can actually build trust and credibility with these customers so that we can build a relationship with them. So thinking about that, for example, I oftentimes hear several marketing tactics that are used to start the relationship with the customer. And, it could be something like social media. Oops, sorry about that. So it could be like social media, and, you pick whatever platform or social media channel that is going to best reach that audience. But most often, in my experience, social media can be a way to get people's attention. You got to overcome a lot of the noise on social media channels, and it's a way to be recognized. But it takes a while to really. There's got to be a lot more to it to really create that relationship, right? So. One thing that I can do on social media really is start to maybe tell my story. And that story in this example, I think, is going to be twofold, right? There's the story of me, the founder, and how I came to love barbecue. There's a whole culture behind barbecue, right? So I could talk about that barbecue culture. I could also talk about, my experience with barbecue, why I love it so much. I could tell a story about my favorite holiday where we had barbecue and the whole family was there, and it was just such a great event and a great memory. And barbecue was what helped bring people together for that shared experience during that event or that holiday, right? So, barbecue culture. My story is the founder. So I call this the story of self, right? How I came about. And then, there could be you see this all the time with kind of the recipe story or recipes just in general. So I've got that secret sauce, but you didn't realize the story behind that sauce was it was my great-grandfather's sauce that he began creating and I grew up with, and so there's a story behind that recipe, right? So stories are really powerful in creating those relationships, and it is a great way, especially for small businesses, those mom and pop, shops and that one food truck, right, to really create a differentiated offering compared to a chain restaurant, right? It's hard for a chain barbecue place to tell a meaningful story. You as a single location restaurateur, food entrepreneur, you have an engaging story that you can and should be telling. Okay, how else can we create that customer relationship, right? Well, more and more our consumers are eco-conscious, and there's certainly going to be a negative impact with eating a lot of meat, perhaps, but I could maybe try and minimize the negative impact if I have kind of eco-friendly packaging. Okay, this helps me kind of tell my story. Especially, thinking about event and festival goers and how much waste is created at these events. If I have recyclable materials, that may, be appealing to the organizers of the events and festivals, but also the patrons of those events too. So that helps tell that values or mission-driven story. Okay, what else? Maybe part of that is, even though we're eating meat, and that's got questionable negative impact, maybe everything is sustainably sourced, right? Or locally sourced, right? I get all my meat from local farmers, and so that can help tell a story about where the food came from, and know that as a customer, my consumption decision is having a local economic impact that is positive, right? So that can be part of how I create a relationship. Okay, I could also do demos, right? I could do like a cooking demo, barbecue demo. A lot of us amateur barbecuers want to barbecue at home every now and then, right? So maybe I can pick up a few tips and tricks from my favorite barbecue food truck, and I can do that demo, and it's an event and an engaging experience. Okay, here's just a few options, and you notice that not a lot of these really were the first marketing tactics that come to mind, right? But I could also talk about Yelp reviews, right? So ask people to leave a review, and then those reviews are basically testimonials. Hopefully they're positive, and they serve as such testimonials to kind of create that word of mouth and establish that credibility that we're a good place to come visit for barbecue. So that could be a real focus here. Okay, lots of ways to create customer relationships. I hope this gets your ideas flowing. All right, so where do we go next? Zooming back out so you can see the whole canvas. The next place we'll go here is channels, right? And this is really where that value is exchanged. So we talked about the value propositions. We've talked about these customer segments. Where is that happening? Well, we talked about events and concerts and festivals. So that can actually be the festival grounds, the park that we're at. And then we've talked about, kind of the office park customers. So that could be a different channel. And then we've talked about kind of the busy office goer, right? So then kind of that catering option. Do you want to leave that meeting to go pick it up? No, I want to deliver that to you, right, to create even more value. And so this can actually be a channel, and it can kind of cross over and actually be a value proposition as well. So I can cater, and it's not just takeout, it's actually delivery service for you as well. Okay. What else? The bar, if we're at that location. The good thing about, food truck is they're so mobile potentially, and so I can be in a lot of different places, a lot of where I can have that channel happen. Okay. And then, I might be able to take orders online. So I may have kind of an e-commerce component. You can order ahead of time. And we talked about that mobile ordering. So that's kind of where that channel can happen, that transaction can happen as well. So several different channels here with the simple kind of food truck business model. All right, the last place we're going to go to on kind of the front end of this business model canvas are the revenue streams here. Okay, so I've got obviously food sales. Okay, I've got my catering sales. Kind of a different revenue segment, or different revenue stream rather. So I've got my food sales, my catering. Now what else can I do in this business model, right? Maybe I can sell drinks. Okay, so I've got my beverage options, food, beverage. What else? What else can I do? Maybe I could charge for those demos, those cooking classes. I can charge a little fee maybe. And then one other idea is that secret sauce for that barbecue sauce. Guess what? I'm going to go ahead and bottle that up and sell that, right? So I'm going to sell my barbecue sauce on my website and try and get it into stores, right? Okay. Several different revenue streams here, and when you're thinking about building your business model and executing on it especially, you may want to start out with one or two of these as you get going, as you start up. Don't try and overwhelm yourself with so many different revenue streams. That could actually be detrimental in lack of focus, right? Trying to do too many things all at once, or especially in the beginning. But over time, as you grow, it's a great idea to diversify those revenue streams. And so these can be ideas for the start, where you're at now, and also future revenue streams too. Okay, so this is, like I mentioned, all front of house customer facing part of the business model, but just as important is the ability to execute and serve those customers. So we need to look at the back of house, backstage, that operational component of the business model, and that's what the rest of these squares represent. So let's just start with any of them. We can do these key activities here. All right, if you ever worked in a restaurant, you're cleaning and you're prepping, all right? Prepping the food, cleaning up, and then you're serving customers. Hopefully, lots of time spent doing that, right? Okay. Now what else can I do? Well, there's this difference between working in the business, which these three activities that we've already talked about really represent, and that time spent working on the business, right? And that is really kind of with sales or marketing, and maybe I want to do some outreach and really get the community to recognize that I exist, and it can be a great partner for their next event, their next festival. And so I'm applying to be a vendor at festivals. I'm reaching out to office park office managers, seeing if we can come and serve their office for lunch and those sorts of things. So that's a key activity as well. Probably inventory management. And if you're just starting out this food truck, you will certainly be wearing a lot of hats. You're a solo entrepreneur perhaps, so you've got to wear all the hats, right? You may be doing things like the accounting, the bookkeeping, and that's perfectly understandable, especially in the early stages of a young business. As you grow the business and as it matures, what you want to think about doing is offloading, outsourcing, delegating those tasks that aren't really core to your business. Things like accounting, things like social media, marketing can be easily outsourced as you build up some revenue to pay for those things, or you can make a hire and delegate some of those tasks to an employee. So keep that in mind as you think about what activities are really key. That word is important, right? What are those key activities relevant to the business model? And what are those activities that really rely on your strengths, right? So you're prepping and you're cooking, and no one can cook those ribs quite like you. So you need to be spending your time, really focused on that. Okay. All right, let's go here to key resources. And the first thing I hear when we talk about resources is money. Yeah, of course we need money. Yeah, absolutely. But money in the business is really just kind of a means to an end in terms of operation. So what is that money going to be used for? So let's just go right there. Certainly inventory. And then you've got your advertising expenditures. Okay. Maybe you've got those fees for excuse me, I'm talking about advertising as a cost structure. But inventory, yeah, we need to think about this. I've actually got my food truck is a key resource, right? I've got my food, my inventory. Advertising is more of a cost. What else do I have? Maybe I've got some employees, okay, some human resources, very important. What else? Well, remember I talked about that secret sauce, right? I've got that kind of secret recipe that everyone loves, okay? And with that recipe, with that story that I'm building, I've really got a brand that I'm building. So that becomes a resource, okay? All right, so here's some of those resources. There's certainly a lot more that we could put here, but that's a good start. Now let's go over here to partnerships. Who can help us execute this business model successfully? Well, we've already mentioned several of them, right? The event and festival organizers. Those are certainly key partners. And then we talked about our ability to source locally and sustainably. So our vendors, our suppliers, okay? Those local farmers. And then we talked about that customer at the office park, right? So maybe the office manager, property manager. I might be working with my local chamber of commerce to help build some of those community relationships that we talked about. And so the Chamber of Commerce can be a really good partner for helping me do some outreach and build some of those relationships. Who else can be a partner here? Let's go back here and look. We talked about our suppliers, our vendors. Okay. Yeah, maybe that bar owner can be a good partner. Every business should have probably a good CPA or bookkeeper as a partner. Anything you're outsourcing, They can be great partners to have too. And then I always like to think about, who can be a mentor to me, who can be an advisor or even a coach. And it could be someone who's owned a food truck or restaurant in the past, giving me some feedback, some advice, helping me overcome adversity, helping be a thinking partner. If you don't have those mentors and advisors in business, they do really make a difference, and they make a good key partner. So that's pretty good for that, key partners. Let's go ahead and look here at the cost structure. So we did talk about those advertising expenditures, and cost structure is really talking about all the ways in which money is moving out of the business, right? So advertising is a big one. I've got those fees for being a vendor at the event and that festival, and then maybe I've got kind of lease payments that I have to pay. Certainly that inventory will be a big part of my cost structure. And remember those humans we talked about? They're labor costs. Okay. All right, so pretty good start to the cost structure there. We zoom back out, and we've built a pretty decent start to a business model canvas for a food truck. Thank you for tuning in. I welcome your comments, feedback, and suggestions for other industries or businesses that you'd like to see a business model canvas built out for. Thanks for tuning in.